When I think about how you taught me the moon, I find myself remembering the smallest moments. The quiet evenings, when the world slowed down just enough for me to listen, to observe, to understand. The moon was not only a light in the sky, it became a lesson written in silver and silence. You showed me that the moon is not just something to admire from afar, but something that lives within us. A reminder of constancy, of reflection, and of the calm strength that doesn't need to shine louder than others to be seen. In every phase of the moon, there is a story of growth, of retreat, of renewal. You taught me to see that life moves in cycles. Sometimes we are full and radiant, sometimes quiet and hidden. Yet each phase holds its purpose. You helped me see that leadership, much like the moon, does not mean dominating the sky, but sharing its light, letting others see through the darkness while keeping faith in the rhythm of change. You taught me the moon by showing me patience. You never hurried its rise, nor questioned its absence. You taught me that purpose matures in its own time, that not everything beautiful needs to happen in daylight. The moon taught me to listen before I speak, to understand before I act, and to value silence as much as words. In its calm, I have found my compass. It has become a reminder that even in stillness, something bright is always waiting to return. When I was younger, I looked at the moon as a dream, something distant and delicate, unreachable. But through your guidance, I came to understand that it is not a dream to possess, but a truth to honor. You taught me that each generation must find its own way of reaching for it, not by imitating what has been done, but by carrying forward the same spirit. Courage, service, and the quiet belief that no night lasts forever. You showed me that to lead is not to stand above others, but to walk with them, as the moon walks with the tide. You taught me that unity is not achieved by command, but by connection, that respect is born from listening, and that light is strongest when shared. I have learned that to serve is to lift others, to hold space for their hopes, and to reflect their worth back to them, as the moon does for the sea. In the rhythm of the world, there is a quiet dialogue between what is seen and unseen. You helped me understand that our strength as individuals and as a nation comes not only from what shines, but from what endures. You taught me that it is not necessary to always be the one who speaks the loudest. Sometimes the greatest courage lies in standing still, in being present, in holding faith when the sky is dark. There were moments when I doubted, when I wondered if I could live up to the example set before me, if I could hold the responsibility entrusted to me. And it was then that I remembered your voice, your calm certainty. Look to the moon, you said. It has no light of its own, and yet it brightens the whole world. That truth became a part of me. It reminded me that no one leads alone, that our light comes from the reflection of those who walk beside us, and from those who came before us. I have learned that tradition is not a chain that binds us to the past, but a bridge that carries us forward. You taught me to see continuity, not as repetition, but as evolution. The same moon seen through new eyes, shining upon new dreams. Through your lessons, I have come to cherish what connects us: family, history, and the unspoken promise that each generation makes to the next, to protect, to nurture, to guide. And in those quiet moments, when I stand beneath the night sky, and the world feels still, I remember that the moon belongs to everyone. It rises over every roof, touches every horizon, watches over all people alike. That is the beauty of what you taught me. That light is never exclusive, that it finds its way to all who seek it. In that reflection, I see the meaning of unity, the kind that transcends place, time, and difference. You taught me that every duty, no matter how demanding, becomes lighter when carried with love. That is how the moon endures. Not by resisting darkness, but by embracing it, by shining through it. And so I have learned to embrace my own responsibilities not as burdens, but as gifts, opportunities to serve, to learn, to grow, to give back what has been so generously given to me. There is something profoundly humbling about realizing that the light we see in the night sky has traveled so far, crossing distances beyond our comprehension, just to reach our eyes. You showed me that service is like that light. Its purpose is to reach others, even when the journey is long and unseen, and in that I find my direction. I often think about the future, about the world that awaits beyond these days of learning and preparation. I think of the challenges we will face, and of the strength we will need. The moon reminds me that change, though constant, is not to be feared. Every shadow passes, every cycle renews itself. That is the rhythm of life, and it is also the rhythm of hope. To those who look up and wonder what their place is beneath this vast sky, I would say, remember that the moon does not compare itself to the sun. It finds beauty in its own reflection, meaning in its quiet presence. You taught me that, to stand firm in who I am, to be patient with my becoming, and to let time shape me as it shapes the tides. If there is one lesson I will carry with me, it is that light grows by sharing. The moon's glow reaches us, because it gives without question, without condition. You showed me that same generosity, in your care, your guidance, your belief that I could become who I am meant to be. And for that, I am endlessly grateful. So tonight, as I speak to you, I feel that same moon above us, ancient, constant, kind. It witnesses every generation rise and learn and hope anew. It reminds us that our stories are connected, that no light exists in isolation. You taught me to see that, to believe in that, and to live by that truth. And as I look toward tomorrow, I carry that lesson with me. That to serve is to shine gently, to reflect the best in others, and to remind them of their own light, because the moon does not belong to the one who gazes upon it. It belongs to all who find comfort in its glow. Thank you for teaching me not just to reach for the moon, but to understand it, to carry its light within me, and to share it wherever I go. For teaching me that duty can be luminous, that love can be quiet, and that hope, like the moon, will always find its way through the clouds. And as the night folds into dawn, I promise this, that I will continue to learn, to grow, and to give, with the same faith you gave to me, because the moon you taught me to see has become my guide, and through its light, I will strive to guide others, just as you once guided me. When I think of how you taught me the moon, I remember the quiet grace in your lessons. Lessons that were never forced upon me, but shone gently, like moonlight on still water. You never told me what the moon was, you allowed me to discover it for myself. You showed me that it wasn't something far away, something unreachable in the night sky, but something close, something that lives within us, guiding us softly, even when the world feels uncertain. You taught me that light doesn't always come from brilliance or noise, but often from calmness, patience, and a faith that never wavers. You taught me that the moon does not shine by its own power, yet it illuminates the entire night. It lives through reflection, a quiet echo of light that touches everyone. That is how I began to understand the meaning of guidance, the meaning of service, and the beauty of humility. You made me see that true strength does not demand attention, it inspires it. True leadership does not stand in the center of the stage, it walks beside others, lifting them, letting them see themselves in its glow. As I grew, I started to see that every phase of the moon carries a different message. The full moon teaches generosity, it gives all its light. The crescent whispers of beginnings, fragile, uncertain, but full of promise. The dark moon teaches resilience, that sometimes absence is not loss, but preparation for return. You helped me see that life, like the moon, is a cycle of becoming and returning, of learning and unlearning, of shining and resting. You showed me that each moment has meaning, even when we cannot yet see its shape. When the nights were long and silence stretched wide, you reminded me that light always returns. You taught me that even when the sky is clouded, the moon is still there, waiting patiently, unseen but constant. That lesson has become the rhythm of my heart. It taught me to trust time, to trust effort, to trust the unseen work of hope. You showed me that what truly endures is not the loudness of one's light, but the steadiness of its presence. There were moments when I doubted myself, moments when the path felt too vast, the future too unknown. And it was then that I would remember your words, your calm faith. You told me that the moon never questions its place, it simply fulfills it. It rises when it must, it winds when it should, and in doing so, it teaches us grace. You taught me that fulfillment does not come from seeking perfection, but from being sincere in one's purpose. The moon became more than a metaphor. It became a mirror. It reflected not only what I was, but what I could become. It reminded me that duty is not a weight, but a calling. That love for one's people, one's home, one's land is not something to be spoken of, but something to be lived through small, consistent acts of devotion. The moon, you said, belongs to everyone. It does not ask who is watching, nor does it choose who to shine for. And so must we live, giving our best not because someone is looking, but because we believe in the quiet dignity of service. I have come to understand that light does not belong to those who hold it, it belongs to those who share it. You showed me how to do that, not through grand gestures, but through attention, through kindness, through the simple decision to listen, to care, to stay present. I have learned that service begins not with words, but with the heart's willingness to give. Each night, when I look at the moon, I see more than just light. I see continuity. It watched over those who came before us, as it watches over us now, as it will over those who come after. It connects generations, reminding us that though times change, the essence of love, duty, and hope remains. You taught me that I am part of that continuity, that every choice, every effort, every word carries forward the trust of those who believed in me, and prepares the path for those who will follow. The moon has become a symbol of what unites us. It rises for every person, in every place. It shines on cities and fields alike, on laughter and solitude, on dreams and struggles. It does not ask for perfection, it simply offers light. You made me see that our role in life is the same. To be present, to bring light where we can, to remind others that even in darkness, they are not alone. I have learned that courage does not always roar, sometimes it simply whispers, "Try again." I have learned that faith is not about never falling, but about rising quietly, steadily, as the moon does each night. You taught me that consistency is a form of love, that to return again and again, even after shadows, is to prove one's devotion. There are nights when I feel the weight of expectation, the long horizon of what is yet to come. In those moments, I remember that the moon does not rush. It takes its time, trusting that its light will be enough. You showed me that there is strength in gentleness and wisdom in patience. That every step, no matter how small, matters, because even the faintest light can guide a traveler through the dark. You taught me that legacy is not built in moments of brilliance, but in the quiet persistence of care. That our truest achievements are not what the world applauds, but what the heart sustains: integrity, compassion, loyalty. You made me see that service is not a duty to be carried, but a gift to be given, and in giving it, we find who we are. As I stand beneath the same moon that once guided your gaze, I feel its calm assurance. It tells me that I am never truly alone, that every generation learns from the one before, and that our shared light is what carries us forward. You taught me that leadership is not about commanding others, but about understanding them. It is about seeing the world through their eyes and still choosing to hope, still choosing to serve. The moon reminds me that there will always be darkness. It is part of the balance, part of the beauty. But it also reminds me that light, however fragile, always returns. That is what you gave me, not a promise of ease, but the strength to believe in renewal. You taught me that even when the sky feels heavy, the light within must not fade. And so, I carry your lesson within me, not as a memory, but as a guide. You taught me the moon, and in doing so, you taught me to find light within the ordinary, meaning within silence, and courage within gentleness. You taught me that greatness is not measured by distance reached, but by the sincerity of each step taken toward others. Tonight, as I look up, I see the same moon that has watched over every dream, every promise, every act of love that built the world we share. I see in it your reflection, your wisdom, your calm belief in what we can become. And I understand that the greatest lesson of all is not how to touch the moon, but how to let its light live in our hearts. Steady, humble, and unending. For teaching me that, I am endlessly grateful, and as long as the moon continues to rise, I will carry that light, for you, for all of us, for the future that waits beyond the horizon. Hope has always been the quiet companion of every journey, the invisible thread that ties our present to the future we are yet to build. It does not shout, it does not demand attention, it simply stays, patient, luminous, steady. I have come to understand that hope is not born from ease, but from endurance. It lives in moments when everything feels uncertain, and yet we choose to believe, to act, to move forward. It is a soft, but unbreakable light that guides us through change, reminding us that the best of what we can be still lies ahead. When I look at the people around me, at the faces of those who work, dream, and give of themselves each day, I see hope taking form. It is not something distant. It lives in gestures, in kindness, in quiet courage. It lives in the willingness to build something lasting, something that will outlive us. Hope is not waiting for better days. It is creating them, one choice, one act, one moment at a time. And that is what shapes the shared future we all long for. I believe that our future begins with listening, truly listening, to each other, to the needs of those who often go unheard, to the lessons of those who came before us. Listening builds bridges, and bridges are the foundation of unity. When we listen, we learn that our differences are not walls, but colors in the same mosaic. Each one adds meaning, and together they form a picture greater than any of us alone could imagine. In my life, I have met people who embody this quiet strength, those who never lose faith in what can be achieved even in difficult times. They do not seek recognition, they simply do their part, knowing that every small effort matters. And in their example, I find my own inspiration. They remind me that hope grows when it is shared, when it passes from one heart to another like a flame that does not diminish but multiplies. That is how communities are built, and that is how nations move forward, not through grand declarations, but through the daily act of believing in one another. The future we are building is not abstract. It is being shaped right now, in classrooms where young minds learn to imagine, in families who teach values through love and example, in every person who decides to give more than they take. I see hope in the hands of young people who study not only to succeed, but to serve, in those who understand that freedom and responsibility must walk together. They are not waiting for the world to change. They are becoming the change. And that, to me, is the most powerful expression of hope. There is a certain beauty in knowing that the world we inherit is not perfect, because it gives us a purpose to continue improving it. The mistakes of the past are not marks of failure, but lessons written in time. They remind us that progress is not a straight line but a journey of persistence and renewal. The future belongs to those who dare to believe that every challenge can be met with creativity, and every obstacle can become an opportunity. Hope teaches us to see beyond the present, not to escape from reality, but to transform it. It teaches us that darkness does not erase light. It simply reveals the need for more of it. And so, even in moments of doubt, we must hold on to the belief that our efforts, however small, contribute to something far greater than ourselves. Every act of compassion, every word of encouragement, every dream pursued with honesty adds to the shared story of progress that binds us together. I often think about what kind of world we will pass on to those who come after us. It will be shaped by our decisions, by how we choose to care, how we choose to respond to one another, how we choose to protect what truly matters. The future is not a distant promise, it is a responsibility we live every day. And if we live it with purpose, with understanding, and with faith in one another, it will be a future that reflects the best of who we are. Our shared future will not be defined by how much we possess, but by how deeply we connect, by the bridges we build across generations, by the respect we show for the earth that sustains us, and by the love we extend beyond ourselves. I believe that unity does not mean uniformity, it means harmony. It means finding common purpose while honoring each voice. It means walking together, even when our paths begin in different places. In this journey, hope becomes our compass. It directs us not with certainty, but with conviction. The conviction that what we do matters. It reminds us that no single person holds the answer, but together we can create one. Hope invites us to act not out of fear, but out of trust in the goodness that still exists within us and around us. It is that trust that allows nations to heal, families to endure, and individuals to rise again after every fall. I have seen that hope does not vanish in hardship. On the contrary, it often grows stronger there. It appears in the eyes of those who rebuild after loss, in the quiet resilience of those who keep moving forward when the way seems uncertain. These are the people who remind us that the future is not something we wait for. It is something we shape, with our hands, with our choices, with our hearts. The shared future I believe in is one where no one is left behind, where progress does not mean forgetting our roots, but strengthening them. It is a future where innovation walks with compassion, where success is measured not by what we achieve alone, but by what we achieve together. It is a world where young people inherit not only the wealth of opportunity but the wisdom of empathy, where technology serves humanity and not the other way around. There is a quiet power in believing that tomorrow can be better than today, and that each of us has a part to play in making it so. That belief is what gives life its rhythm, what turns uncertainty into movement and dreams into direction. Hope transforms waiting into action and distance into possibility, and when shared it becomes unstoppable. I hold deep faith in the generation that is rising now, in their creativity, their courage, and their sense of justice. They will face challenges we cannot yet see, but they will also bring solutions we cannot yet imagine. Our role is to trust them, to guide them when needed, and to walk beside them as they lead us forward. The future does not belong to one age or one voice, it belongs to everyone who dares to care about it. And so, I return to where hope begins, with us, here, in this moment. It begins when we choose kindness instead of indifference, collaboration instead of division, truth instead of fear. It begins when we look at one another not as strangers, but as companions in the same journey toward light. Hope begins in the heart, but it becomes real when shared. The future will not arrive suddenly, it will unfold through the choices we make each day. And if we choose to live with faith, with purpose, and with love, then I believe the world that awaits us will be worthy of that light we carry. Because hope, when held together, becomes more than belief. It becomes direction. It becomes the heartbeat of a shared tomorrow. And that, I believe, is the future waiting for us, one illuminated not by the perfection of our path, but by the courage to keep walking it, side by side, toward the promise of what we can still become.